correspondence for the public. Looks like no one's here yet.
Sure. Thank you.
So, and we get the possible topics for future board meeting agendas from the public, right? So we've got some of our own, but we'll get to that later. Yes?
Correct.
So I think we start off with the approval of June 19th board meeting minutes. An action is desired.
I like to write on.
Anyone want to?
We had 2 meeting minutes, didn't we, or no? Just one?
The May,
I thought I saw 2 in the email, no?
I don't remember.
I'd get an email.
Okay.
No, did you
So-
not do it in your June meeting?
I don't know, I thought for some reason Purette attached 2 instead of meeting. I thought I remember reading 2.
You know what? I think you're right.
Our secretary is outside asking me where she goes.
Thank you, thank you. I
It
wondered
looks
what
like you
I
did
think she
approve
does.
the May 30, 2018 board minutes in your June minutes.
And I wonder why
It
she
says
sent
that.
them again. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
She did, you're right, she did.
So we only have 1 set of minutes to approve, is that
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Which are the...
June
19.
19.
So I'll make a motion to approve the June 19 minutes
Okay.
as...
Toby motion.
I'll second.
Seconded.
I just sent it.
And any discussion? All in favor of approving the June 19th board meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Yay. Okay, the motion passed. And we'll take notes while we're waiting for her to get here. Yes.
I'm going to go let her in.
Is she still here? Did she leave?
I'm not connected it says I'm connected to the internet, but it says it's still reconnecting and reconnecting, so I'm trying to...
Shoot. We go outside and see if she's in the parking lot?
I did.
Oh.
Although look, I can walk around. I just didn't want to go around.
This is her first,
No,
her
yeah.
first time coming, so...
Do you think she's at this building?
I asked, are you here? And I gave her the address. I don't know.
She knew not to go in the back way.
She did.
With
Oh,
the
I
back-
didn't talk to her about it, so I know. Yeah.
Do you,
I did tell her the 4th Street entrance.
Okay.
okay, good. Then she should be here. Okay.
She'll see all the cars too.
Yeah, so that would work. Okay, great. So,
Sorry.
should we wait, you guys, or should we go ahead? Because business reports is up.
I don't mind waiting.
Okay.
We'll just give it a minute. I think she's
Okay.
here. I just
Let's
think
wait.
she's having a hard time finding.
And that way Dean will be here too. Thank you. Okay. Everybody having a good summer?
Too short.
Yeah, wet summer, it's done.
I know.
August is depressing. Once August 1st hits.
I
know.
Start seeing all the back to school.
The only thing good about
Halloween
August...
stuff
I know.
at the store,
I
which
saw
is
that.
not
Yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah, including Saturday.
At all.
We go
Nice.
last week.
What
of
is
July.
this?
Yeah. Talking about giving people anxiety, right?
I got nervous
Give it a week
on
and
the
a
first
week.
week. It starts to just feel.
I'm trying to really focus on, it's still
When
summer.
we've
Yes,
gone
still
to
summer.
Maine
yes,
in
I am
August,
too.
it's been
Although
warmer,
I'm
it's
not
been
a big
nice,
fan of the
it's
humidity.
usually,
Yeah.
No.
ocean is
I
warmer.
like fall
It
anyway.
is.
Fall's
But, it just gets too
Oh, it
close.
would be so much better if it didn't
Yeah.
come after summer.
You know what I did to compensate?
Yeah.
for the-
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Close out
family
summer.
vacation trip, so the whole group kind of goes that last week of July, so I don't have much say in it. I do a long weekend in August, like
Yay!
Halloween,
Tamara, welcome.
Thursday.
Thank you.
Everyone, this is Tamara.
Hello.
Sorry.
Hi.
Don't worry about it.
It's okay. Got y'all locked out.
I found all the other entrances, so I
Well, I'm glad Dina found you.
This is your first meeting, right?
Yes.
So
Oh,
this
wow.
is Tamara Kelly. She's also a new payroll specialist for us in our office. So we're so happy to have her, but she's also going to be the secretary for MVU and
And I'm
Swanton.
not normally late.
Wow,
No,
that's
it does not.
fantastic. No, no.
Well, we got to give her directions to come to the store, and
Yeah,
I
to
told
the
her we'd
store,
do that
so-
after.
You ready? Just let us know when you're ready.
All we've done so far is
Yeah.
the Pledge of Allegiance and a motion approving minutes.
Yeah. So we called the meeting to order about 6:03 or something, or 6:05 or something like that. I don't remember exactly when. And then we did the Pledge of Allegiance, and Toby made the first motion to approve the June 19th minutes, and Megan seconded, and it passed unanimously.
Megan, I have her on her. Yeah. They have nice new name
Yes,
taxes.
yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie didn't have one, so we needed to get one, then I wanted them all to match.
Well, they're, very,
I'm surprised they're
I'm
not
they're
purple.
very lovely, thank you.
I was
Thank
going
you.
with the school color. I was gonna do different color coded, but
It's great for the community to have everybody's name.
And then we met Tamara.
Right,
Okay.
Okay, and now we're on a business report.
Okay. So what I've handed out and what was emailed to you is actually the last financial report for fiscal year 2018. This is pre-audit version, but we shouldn't see too many changes. You'll see that your projected carryover went up significantly since the last time we met and you received a financial report, but we did talk about at that time that we were still uncertain of HRA action through the remainder of the year. We also did a large reconciliation once again of the special ed assessments. So if you look at your assessment lines, you'll notice that the special ed assessments were reconciled again and again. That's a moving target for us, and we're working on it. It's a work in progress of fine tuning that. So it's ended up in a good place. Under expended the budget by about 2.75%. On a $8.2 million budget. I feel like that's conservative and fair. People look at that differently, but it does put us in a pretty good place moving forward into fiscal year 20. So Terry had emailed me with a question, which I appreciate you emailing me that. If you look at the bottom box on your revenue page, that kind of speaks more to how we're calculating your tax rate, because the carryover for 18 actually will help offset fiscal year 20. So what it does, we always skip a year, so it allows us time to reconcile, be audited, we have a true good balance to work with. So and it helps us to calculate your tax rate more accurately. So if the numbers on the bottom box where it says projected fund balance as of June 30, 2017, at $215,000 at the top, we actually used the 17 carryover after it was audited to offset fiscal year 19 taxes, so the year we're going into. And then to be reported for fiscal year 19 taxes, after our carryover for this year, we'll be using the number on the side, the 445, 345. So because we've had, a couple $100,000 carryover the last 2 years, doing a really great job monitoring the budget and the work that Dina and Justina have done, we should be in pretty good shape going into a tax rate calculation next year when we're building the budget. So I don't know if that helps at all. It's kind of hard without having you sitting with me to explain. There's also the other numbers in there are all prior year adjustments that are made after the year had closed. So financial transactions, so to speak, that happened in fiscal year 18, but was truly 17 money, if that makes sense. So like where it says adjustment to prior year special ed revenue in that box, $70,839. That's a reconciliation the state did of a prior year, but we didn't get the money until the next year. So this is just how we represent it to you.
So can I ask a question then? So if the total that we've been able to accumulate is 445, but what's being reported taxes is 215 this year, and then for 20 it'll be
The rest.
Okay, that makes sense. So both years will get some, it'll be split. Thank you. That was a great explanation.
But it puts us in a good place, I feel like. That carryover really has an impact on the tax rate, obviously, and the offsetting revenue in your net ed spending calculation. So, better place than some. Let's just put it that way.
We'll take it.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody has any other questions about this report specifically. Next month I will be bringing you your first financial report of fiscal year 2019. There have been a lot of changes and shifts that will need to come into play there, so it might be a bit longer of a report that we'll need to kind of go through, and I'll try to do a memo to summarize all those shifts that we have happening, with new staff and.
It's very helpful. Thank you.
Warrants. Toby has warrants.
Oh, yes. You want a
Skip
motion
over
now?
those, sorry.
Okay, the first motion is for, we'll go in order here. I'll make a motion to approve the June warrants in the amount of $2,182,167.92. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have
Second.
copies for you.
Okay, seconded by Megan.
I'll bring them over.
Yeah,
Any additional discussion? Oh, no, we don't do that with the warrants, do we?
We could.
you could, anybody can always ask.
But we,
Okay.
our finance committee, it's good to, the public too, our finance committee, looks at all of these.
Thoroughly
Because
vets
This
them.
is just the.
Great, thank you. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So it passed unanimously.
And I'll make a motion to approve the July 2018 warrants in the amount of $419,635.53.
I'll second.
Seconded by Megan. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So it passed unanimously. Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Toby. Okay.
Looks like paid lunch. Looks like next week of the paid
Yes.
lunch meal
Oh,
pricing.
thank you. Okay.
Yes, so, because you have a food service management company, the state requires us every year to do a paid lunch, equity calculation, which basically, requires an increase to your hot lunch price to move you towards a target price, to ensure that paid meal, or free reduced price hot lunch claims or money that's coming from the federal and state government is not subsidizing paid meals. We historically have had a very, very low paid meal price here in Franklin County. We're lucky and we're fortunate that actually helps us to have a higher free and reduced price percentage. But we've done that calculation for you. We are recommending an increase of 10 cents, so going from $2.45 to $2.55. That's the minimum requirement to move towards the target of $2.92. So from $2.45 to $2.55, and that's moving towards the target of $2.92. Ultimately, I like to make the boards aware that it is your discretion. This is something that you can set at any amount that you feel appropriate and what you think would be in the best interest of your program. But if you chose not to approve this increase, then there could be potential that you have to find another funding source to cash flow your program to ensure that the free reduced price claiming is not subsidizing the program, if that makes sense.
So the actual cost is $2.92?
It will be $2.55.
I'm sorry, the actual cost.
That's a target.
That's the target the state is saying we should be working towards, and we have to do a calculation to prove that we are showing that we are moving towards that target over a certain amount of years.
When do we have to hit it?
We don't ever have to hit it. We always have to be moving towards it.
Okay.
And it keeps increasing as the claim amounts
course.
that the federal and state subsidies keep going up. This keeps moving.
Yeah.
So, but I can tell you that a lot of schools are charging over $3 in the state of Vermont. So our prices are very low. And we have a very good program for what we're providing for this. Our participation rate is upwards of 60%, which tells you your program is fairly successful. Breakfast will remain free. And again, the board has discretion over that, so you can change that as well. But we have wonderful success, I think, with offering free breakfast to all kids.
Yeah. What do you all think? You know the students and the parents.
I think if we move in that direction, I think that makes sense. I think it's been a couple of years since
Every
we had
year,
an increase, or every year.
we've been working towards this, so every year has been about 10 cents. We did fiscal year 15 to 16, we did not increase.
Right.
I think the state allowed us to do that. We had like some carryover from when we increased prior. What you try to do is not increase the price enough to the detriment of your program, so
Right.
people still participate and do it incrementally over time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a balancing act.
How did we come to that number to begin with?
Which one?
The current cost for
The
the,
$2.55 what we're charging.
right?
Basically, they took where you were and where you need to be, and then they allowed us a couple years to evaluate the increases that we did on our own, and then they allowed you to carry over some of those increases, or if you didn't increase at all, then you had to, it all goes into the calculation.
So it's like area, income, anything like that
No.
taken into account?
No, well, I think they take that into account when they create the target,
Okay.
but that would be statewide.
And the 10 cents is the minimum that they
Right.
tell us
Right.
we can increase without having to find local revenue to subsidize the program. So I think the other answer to your question is, except for that year we didn't, we've been increasing the minimum.
Sure.
So it's not as large an impact to families.
Is the 10 cents, is that sufficient? Would
Our programs are
15
cash
be-
flowing with these increases, and the Abbey runs a Schedule E, basically a financial analysis, and they tell us that they can offer a quality program with the options that we want at this price. I will tell you though that the next time you go out to bid for a food service management contract, it will be a fixed price and not a cost reimbursable, which it is now. So right now, basically, we pay an admin fee and a management fee, a flat rate to the Abbey, and then anything else above, any other revenue generated that's not paid out to expenses for the program stays with the program. That's now, per the state, going to be changing into a fixed price, so we'll be basically paying for a vended meal, so to speak. So they will charge us, I'm making it up, $3 for a meal, and they will tell us, we served 1,000 meals, you owe us X, and we will not see any of the documentation or backup for why they're charging us what they're charging. The state's recommending that. We just had to do that in Highgate, and I think the programs are going to not be as flush as they used to be.
So when we go out to bid for that, that's probably going to be SU though, right?
Probably not,
Oh,
because we
it'll
still
still
have
be a
one
district?
school. We could. The problem is all the schools are on different cycles. We do have all the
Right.
prices pretty much the same now, but all the schools are on different cycles with their contracts. You're allowed.
When do we go out?
You're allowed only 1-year contracts, but after your first initial contract, you're allowed 4 renewals. So, and I can tell you the process is not an easy one.
What number renewal are we at with Abby? I'm just wondering if this is happening soon.
Your renewal 3 out of 4. So next year you'll be allowed your last renewal, and then we'll have to switch to a fixed price. And to be honest with you, I would probably wait. I'm going to evaluate. Highgate's the first one. I'll evaluate where they end up this year, but it's looking like they will not have the carryover that they have had in the past
When they switch.
if it works out.
So if we increase more than 10%, 10 cents rather, would that possibly help down the road where that fixed price is going to come in, where it's not so much of a shock to the families, or
Well, the fixed price won't come in as to what you
charge?
but it could, it could
Help offset
you
that.
could help offset that.
Okay.
I would not increase your hot lunch price any more than 10 cents. From what I've seen, if you increase any more than 10 cents, you're going to have a loss of participation, because 10 cents on one student a day is not much. But if you have 3 kids in a school and you're paying, you start to see the
175
difference.
And every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like if your participation goes down, it's the worst thing. And if you lose somebody in the food program, getting them back is really hard. So it's, getting kids to participate at a young age and keeping your prices and your offerings really good is important.
Okay. Thank you.
So are you looking for a motion
Yeah, I do need-
to approve the 10-cent increase for the 2009 paid lunch meal pricing?
And breakfast to remain free if that's what you
And
so
breakfast
choose.
to remain free. So,
Tamara.
Tamara, did you get that motion?
Yes.
Could you read it to me?
What you're doing is you want the motion to increase 10 cents and keep the free breakfast.
Right. Is that sufficient?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Yeah, it just has to say the
Okay.
paid, has to say the paid
Paid
meal
lunch.
price. Yeah.
Megan seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no?
Yeah.
It passed unanimously. Did you have something?
I just want to make you aware that with this renewal that we just did for you for this year, your admin and your management fees did go up about 2.2%. They have not gone up since I've been here in 8 years, and it is part of your original contract that they're allowed to go up the NEEP index. So
Do we
don't
budget
really-
for that, or?
we don't budget for it because your program pays for it.
Oh,
This is not part of your
okay.
general fund. This
Gotcha.
your program will cash flow that.
Okay.
But I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. Great. Okay. Next agenda item.
Principal's report.
Yeah.
Did you have something else?
Can you actually, can we make a motion on that too?
Sure.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I
Yeah.
need one, and I think I'd
I'll
rather
make
have
a
you.
motion to approve. I'm not approving that. I'm okaying it, or
Accepting?
You're
accepting.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the increase to the FSMC FY9 admin and management fees.
Second.
Megan seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, it passed unanimously. Thank you. And now thank you very much for that. We're on the principal's report.
Okay, I will just briefly outline some of the things going on. First of all, we do like to give the enrollment each month or each time that we meet. This one right now is a moving target. We got these numbers last Friday. That's when we had our board prep meeting. And in order to get the agenda out, they were Friday's numbers. Since then, Justina and I have tentatively placed, I think there was about 10 students in that pile that we had. They will probably keep coming. We have registrations. This is a busy, busy time for registration. So starting K through 6 at 524 is a pretty solid number, I think. But I expect that to go up. We haven't received a lot of requests for records of kids leaving, a few that we knew about. But so when we meet in September, October again, we'll have a good idea of that number. But it hasn't been that high to start in a while. So
I was going to ask, what was it last year?
Yeah.
Do we know? It's fine if
but I don't think I don't know if we started the year over 500. We were kind of close.
5 or 6 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
It was
I have your
So-
October 1 numbers if you want that.
And what was it again?
524.
524. Wow.
Yeah.
And those preschool numbers will go up.
Yeah.
They
For
absolutely
sure.
will.
Yeah.
People register for that even
Gotcha.
more last minute, I feel like, than they do for kindergarten and school.
But the K through 6 numbers have gone up.
Starting the year with 68 professional staff, 44 paras, and 3 lunchroom playground monitors. At this time, we have no holes to fill, except 2 crossing guards. We are looking for crossing guards. So, but right now, as far as paras or anything, and it depends on any students that move in that might have some needs. But right now, we're starting pretty well. There is no presentation tonight, but at some point, and whether we do it now, in talking with Julie and Terry, I do have a document that has our board dates and suggested presentations like we did last year. Now, we can either do that tonight or we can wait till the full board. That's up to you folks. Do you have that?
I do, and it is on the agenda.
Do you want to do for later? Do you
Yep.
want me to finish the report?
It doesn't
You
matter.
wanna
We're
jump
going to talk
around?
about it, but I don't mind jumping around if it works for you.
Whatever.
Unless it's too hard to find it.
No, I
Okay.
put it in.
Actually, linked to stuff.
I linked
It's
it.
very,
Very
good.
I
It's very
will.
interesting. I think everybody will want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see it
So
twice.
those are highlighted in red just because that's what we did last year, and I just didn't want to lose what we did. The definitely September 19th, I would love to have Joan Lumbra and Deb Boucher come back to share our SBAC data. They did a phenomenal job last year, and I think the data this year is even more inspiring and exciting. So if the board is okay, I would leave that. And as you know, it's about a 15-minute presentation.
That's fascinating. Is that when it's publicly available? Because you have it, but you're just not allowed to publicize it yet?
It should be embargoed
On
now.
Oh, really?
But then it's a matter of putting it together in a manner that's
and
friendly to share.
And they have been working with the data all summer long, even though it hasn't been, we get those results. So
That's
then
great.
there was a suggestion, and I can't remember if Rusty did come last year, but we'd love to have Rusty Gregory, who is our technology integrationist, come with actually some teachers and students perhaps to talk about the ways we're using technology.
That'd be great.
We left, and this is where the timeline gets hard, and Laura, I was trying to be respectful of our budget work. I had December 19th meeting with no presentation because that would be a full-blown budget, but I'm sure the October meeting will be beginning that conversation then as well. So all budget, by January 23rd, in my opinion, according to last year, we did have a special budget meeting ahead of that. And I think Laura had to be tied up by January 23rd anyway with budget. Is that pretty true?
That's probably my go to print date.
Right.
Yeah.
So that board meeting, we should be done at
Budget
that
should be
point. So the suggestion for that night is we are in our second year, third year already. Third year, we're going into our third year, wow, with our NCSS contract with our behavior, school-based behavior consultants, and we would love for them to come and show data once again, and to just talk about that program and how that has grown. The March date, I just left, that one's usually a full meeting because we are usually celebrating and being thankful that our budget passes, and it's the time to reconfigure the board, so I didn't have anything. But then I thought at the April meeting, we could talk about Extension Thursday, which is just a community outreach program that we've been doing, and bring kids or people involved with that, maybe even some of our community partners. But those were things that we had, but I want to know what the board wants to know more about.
I think they're great. One thing I just thought of when you had Extension Thursday, the playground, would that just be part of an agenda, or would that be a presentation, do you think?
I was almost wondering if come December 19th, we would probably need to come together and talk. I do expect that we would probably give some updates at each meeting. I was going to ask for some time at the September meeting when we get to that on the agenda, but perhaps December 19th, if we're talking budget, that was also something that we had talked about with the playground. If we had any shortfalls with what our fundraising was, what that would mean for voters. So that might be a time to do like a larger, where are we with fundraising presentation. I'm not looking to spend a lot of time there, but I don't think anything would be a surprise if we're talking a little bit each month. But
Well, I think you're likely going to continue to have playground updates as old business as you go, but there may be a time where there's a natural fit to have people come in and talk about where we are. And you had talked about September, right? For the kickoff, sort of
a little bit for this meeting,
So, I'm sorry, I'm misunderstanding. So are you talking about having September be a big kickoff explaining it?
It's on the agenda
And
for
bring people
tonight,
in?
the playground, for just as old business. So I just was going to talk really quickly, and as part of that, ask for some more extended time at the September meeting, like maybe 10 or 15 minutes,
That's
10
why I wonder if you
minutes.
want to put it up there then.
But then really, I expect of the October meeting just some brief updates.
Okay, so you don't see it as being one of these, give a presentation, you see it more as, okay, weave it into
Ongoing
the-
business.
Yeah.
Okay, ongoing, okay.
We just
That
might
makes
need a
sense.
bit more time for
In
in the
December,
September
where-
one,
Gotcha.
for the initial kickoffs, and then again in December
I think that's
for any
good.
possible budget impact.
But it won't be formal like Joan and Deb.
Right.
Okay. I think it looks great. How about you guys?
Is there anything else on Megan, Toby?
I'm wondering about, and I don't know, more details about curriculum and just what it looks like.
Yeah.
And how it's put together.
Kosha could come. We have a brand new curriculum director who's
Right.
going to be outstanding, and I would ask her to come with Joan and Deb, because Joan and Deb are, as knowledgeable as she is in answering those kinds of questions. I think what would be really helpful in that case is just specific questions you might have too. They can kind of do an overview of our curriculum and the work that's been done.
I would love an overview.
Maybe
Just
you
sort
could-
of, areas that are unique, or areas that maybe we possibly should focus more on, anything like that.
You'll hear some of that too when they go over the SBAC data.
Okay.
What I'm going to do, if the board is okay with this, I can't remember if Rusty even came last year. My memory's so bad, but I'm going to put either technology or curriculum in October. Is that okay? That with not monthly meetings, and that's hard. And we can maybe take the Extension Thursday out. I've given overviews of that before, so I think a technology report might fit better there.
So my only thought on that is, one, it would be nice to meet the new curriculum director, like at a board setting.
absolutely.
But I'm wondering if
Yes.
if she would have had enough time to be
the
Oh,
curriculum.
onboarded by then, yeah, for your purposes and your purposes.
She is coming to us from Sheldon
Okay,
and has
so
been
she's in-
intricately
okay. All right,
involved
that's
with the
not an
creation
issue
of the
then.
curriculum.
Yeah,
So
she's
she's
like
Okay.
Jonah and Deb
Yeah.
and Sheldon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just.
All right, I didn't know if she needed a couple more
No,
months.
I think that
no,
looks
that's,
great.
that's
No.
thoughtful, but
And in
she's lived that
September,
world
she'd be
for a long
coming
time.
with Joan and Deb to do the SR
Perfect.
presentation.
That's all. We'll see you
She
then.
usually doesn't, but if you want her, she can.
She can at least come
Okay.
and meet you all, and if you
Yeah.
have particular questions for
Yeah, that
her
might be a good time
as
for us to
questions.
ask her
Yeah,
questions
and
so
then
she
she
can
can
come
follow
back
up.
with them.
But
Yeah.
I can invite her to come and with Deb, so maybe they'll have 2 months in a row. How's that? I can invite all of them to come for both. Does that make sense, Julie?
If they don't
or-
mind. I think September's gonna be a really busy
Full
Busy,
meeting.
busy.
full
Yeah.
meeting.
So maybe she wouldn't necessarily present, but if you wanted to just meet her.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Right.
fine. The first one, the September. Yeah, that's good.
I would assume that she would, so. And I just moved technology down.
That's good.
It's great feedback.
The only thing I'm thinking of is about, I know we heard some discussion this year, maybe this is just part of the budget development, but around the SU assessments and them being such a large part of the budget, and so I didn't know if you wanted to target a meeting to talk about those assessments at all, or if that's just gonna be part of your budget. I just don't wanna be neglectful
Right.
to the feedback that we got. It's up to the board, but.
Can you, about the assessments, you mean
Yeah.
test assessments?
No, I'm sorry, the financial assessments that you pay to the supervisory union, so special ed, ECP, central office, those being such a large part of your
Yeah.
budget now.
And there are a lot of
where
questions.
primarily they're
We do
approved
have a lot
at
of
the
questions.
SU level, but
That would be a
they're
great
being
help.
asked to be explained more at the local level.
So I'm wondering
For
if
Don.
that in maybe the October, I don't know where in your cycle you have enough information to share, but
Well, I
you know,
don't even know if they're looking for, and maybe Toby has an opinion on this, because I think he heard some of the feedback too, or if anybody else does. I don't know if it's the hard numbers or more understanding what exactly is in
Goes
those
into it.
assessments and.
Yeah, I think the numbers aren't really the issue.
Yeah.
I think it's like what services are we getting from
Right.
the SU,
Right.
basically, and that is it's been moving because we keep going more and more and more to the SU. So I think the general public doesn't really understand all the services that are provided by the SU,
Right.
and that's where we constantly need to
Or even.
work that into our budget presentations in an easy manner for them to understand.
Right.
That it's not just a tax, it's a,
Right.
Right.
we're
Right.
getting services,
Mhm.
but they
Right.
don't know what those services are.
That we would have had to pay.
Yeah, we
in a
would have been
different way.
paying them in a different way.
And also now those costs are directly related to students, like special ed. I mean,
Mhm.
truly,
Right.
like it's supplies,
Yeah.
equipment, materials, OT, PT. I mean, it's all that stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
So with the Act 46 recommendation, is that going to have, like, what impact is that going to have on, how the budget is currently put together is not necessarily aligned with what they're recommending.
no.
So, do
Hopefully
we want to
we'll
spend a lot of
know.
time on,
That's a really good question.
yeah, on
Be-
understanding if it's just totally going to change?
My thought was that in the October meeting, in the financial update, we could do a little overview of what goes into an SU budget. And yet, by the end of October, we may know what the final decision is and where we stand, and then that would impact how we budget.
Okay.
So it's going to be an interesting budget year.
Yeah,
You're
that's a
right.
good
It
idea.
would very much change the way we budget if there was a single district. It would be very different. And you wouldn't have an SU assessment. However, I still think that it would be valuable to at least share for the community in what goes into an SU.
Right, what you're
Okay.
paying
And we
for
have
or not.
no idea what's going to happen, really.
It's a great
So-
idea.
What's
Yeah.
that date? October 31?
That's my understanding
Or when we find out.
of when
Yeah.
we find out. I don't know.
So I'm just looking. It's after that
Right.
meeting.
Yeah.
Because those costs are not going away.
Right.
It's not
It'd
that if
just
you
be
merge, the
different.
costs are going away.
Right.
You'll still
Right.
be paying for them. It's just how maybe
How
your
you're
portion
paying.
of what
Yeah.
you're paying for might change
Right.
potentially. But I still think I agree with Toby. I think people don't understand what's in that $1 million assessment.
Right.
I think it's a good idea. I know that in the past that really helped taxpayers to understand, especially as there have been changes around special ed consolidation and more services moving and being mandated to move to an SU level. That it's not just a small office and some bookkeeping folks, and it's much more
bigger
expanded
than
than that.
I think it would be nice to have Andrea and Tanya be a part of those meetings if they were to come. They're the admins of those budgets. I mean, I can present the financial pieces and what's in the lines or something, or the general overview, but to have them speak to what they're trying to accomplish or their mission or what's prioritized right now, I mean, just for more an instructional side would be nice. At the same time, maybe.
Are you going to put that in then, Dina, October 24th?
On the 24th.
So curriculum and assessment, budget assessments?
Well, I think it could be part of the agenda under a financial report.
Okay.
Where we would
Okay.
have a
Not a
presentation
special
on.
presentation,
not a
but
s-
part
right.
of the board.
Okay.
And that we would have a report
Let's
on
not
what
forget
goes
it.
into a budget. No, I've made note of it.
Okay, thank you. I would make a note. That's good.
So that's great, thank you. Great direction.
So Julie, you've got that,
I've
so.
got to go back.
No, you're okay, but just as, if you want, as we make
Sure.
those agendas, we'll just make sure we put those presentations, and I will reach out to our presenters
Yeah.
and ask them / invite them.
Didn't you have June 6th on there too? Goal setting or something?
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
kind of put, I think I had that. June
There
6th.
was more.
Well, that was
There.
another meeting.
I didn't
There we
scroll
go.
enough.
Yeah, June 6th.
That's usually, and Julie may want to do something different, but that was just when we kind of did our end of the year and our,
Because that was different than
then.
the last
So it's the
board
wrong
meeting.
date?
Wasn't it?
I'm sorry?
I thought I had the last board meeting in May. You guys, I've got it wrong. Okay. So
I
it's
think
June
it might have been just the way it fell. We ended up having that extra one for the playground.
Yeah, actually June 6th is a Thursday anyway, Terry, so that date isn't right.
6th. Yeah, so,
I had April 17, was that on there?
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
I'm
had,
just
What do
going
you
to my
have next?
calendar to see if I can find.
yeah, I don't have anything for May.
Right, what
Oh,
about?
I'm sorry, I had May 29.
Okay,
Is that what's up there?
That's what I saw too.
no, that's good.
No,
No,
I
it
had a
says
June
June 6th, so.
You didn't, Megan, have a June?
I'm sorry?
Did you have a June date?
I didn't until I
No.
looked
I
at
have
I
May
know, I
29th on my
Me too.
calendar.
Yeah.
Yep, so I think that was our final one, and we didn't have a June date at this point, because that kept your 6-week cycle that you
Yeah,
did.
I know.
So we're keeping May 29th and June 6th.
No, June 6th was a Thursday, and that was just a typo,
So
so
it's
we,
just May
May
29.
Oh,
29th will be
okay,
the last
thank
one.
you. I thought we were doing a special meeting for it.
but
Thank
we
you.
may want
I
to
was
set
gonna
a
say,
June
that's a long
meeting.
time between
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
to not have a meeting, so there may be action I need from a business perspective.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Would you like to pick that date now? The June date?
That's
I would, since it's not till June, I would wait till the other board members are here. I'm
Okay.
saying that also
Oh,
selfishly
right.
because I'm theoretically done in March, so.
Oh, you're not
So
running
I could say I don't care, but.
You're trying to be respectful of other people.
Oh, okay. Wow, Toby, that's going to be a sad day.
He's technically done, that doesn't mean that he will be done, right?
Did you get reviewed?
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
You might be running again.
Okay.
Okay, well.
Thank
He's
you for
pleading
catching
the
Thank
me.
you. Thank you. We're moving right.
So I will just, basically, under the heading of what our students are doing, they're not in the building, except we had a very, very successful summer program, our Crossroads program, our Maker Camp, our art camp, Crossroads, I said, our tutoring program, and our summer school. So the building was really full for the full month of July, which people don't realize with all of the stuff that has to be done, it's hard to accommodate that, but it went really smoothly this year. So we have really good people in charge. Kathy Kneebone, Jess McPeck, and Tiffany Renadette really were the ones in charge, and the coordination's been wonderful. But outside of our building, we were just going to give a shout out to our girls, our summer softball girls, and our 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, Northwest All-Stars. We had several students from Highgate and Franklin, and our Swanton girls that participated: Josie McGuire, Madison Spears, Abby Wilcox, Lizzie Bordeaux, Brooklyn Coda, and Addison Coda. Those girls won their state championship, and they went to their regional tournament in Connecticut. the 11 and 12.
No,
sorry, wrong one.
Pennsylvania.
You went to
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Wow.
The other girls went with they all over it. The 11 and 12s were also state champs, and they went to regionals in Bristol, Connecticut, correct?
That's great.
Wow,
And from Franklin, Kaylee Renadette was part of that team, and Tiffany works here. And our Swanton girls were Molly Gagne, Madison Guyette, Eleanor McGuire, Destiny Fidgen, and Abigail Raleigh. So that's just giving them some good kudos. And anytime someone plays All-Stars, it's an all-summer long commitment, and we're just really proud of the girls. They were excited and thrilled, and a lot of community support around.
Was that both of your girls?
I was just going to say, Ladder McGuire's up there.
Yes, I had one. Yeah, we were busy.
That's great.
Busy.
Well done,
Wow.
Softball.
That's
and
awesome.
Then the big thing is, and I hope you all received your invitation. The Central Building's 25 years old this year. So on our first day, this was included in our first day letter that's going out tomorrow. We're doing like a first day celebration that we did in the past. People, our students, teachers will meet in the parking lot. We will have a kickoff for about 20 minutes. We're inviting families, the Swanton community. We're inviting former school board members, superintendents, teachers, students just to come. We have a small, short program planned. Students will then enter their classrooms at about 8:20 to start their day. It's their first day, and that's really what they're focused on. And then from approximately 8:30 to 9:15, we're inviting families, community members into the cafeteria for refreshments. And we will have guests here just telling stories about the beginning and how this building came to be. So it's just a way to try to focus. Channel 15, Paul Snyder's going to be here. So he's been great with things. So we're just trying to make it a really nice celebration of this building. Basically, our teachers, one of the things we did last summer was I created a Google Doc where teachers could put in all that they did over the summer for professional development. We'll have that ready in September. I just sent that out last week. We just want to remind you again, we have 4 new staff this year, teachers, and then our tech guy, which is really a nice number for Swanton. A new kindergarten teacher, Lacey Stone, and then 2 grade 4 teachers, Erica LeClaire and Michelle Garvey. Sandy Simmons is going to be our new guidance counselor in 3-4, and Josh LaRush has started as our tech support specialist. He is outstanding already with very little guidance. He comes in and he's really done a great job. He also has taken on the role of our athletic director, which is really, really good too.
Yeah.
In service is starting on the 20th next week on Thursday and Friday. Our new teachers will be here. And then we had, it's hard to believe, isn't it? And then we had talked to Julie and our association representative about adding an extra day to August. So our teachers are coming in Monday through Thursday, and that was in anticipation of so much happening. There's so many nuts and bolts things to do here, but we're also doing a responsive classroom training. That's a 1-day around transitions. As you may remember, we've had the full training for responsive classroom, so we're just trying to keep that going. We also have a keynote up at MVU one morning, and then a training on our new supervision and evaluation program. So when you take those things out, those are 2 whole days, and we really needed more time to prepare our teachers. So what we were looking at was either in the event, as we know, we have made up the last couple of years our contracted days because of snow. Mm-hmm. We felt pretty sure that might happen again, and that the time with our teachers would be far more valuable up front than at the end. Because we don't want those days to feel wasted. So that was kind of our plan in moving forward. Feedback has been fine from our teachers, and so we're moving forward with that. Facilities update, I'm not going to read all of this stuff. What I was going to do is, and I don't want to make it a long presentation, but the board approved all kinds of things for us to do this summer. Jason Butler and his staff have been outstanding. Basically, everything that was approved by the board is done or in the process of being done. I want to meet with him and with Toby as facilities rep sooner versus later, just to talk about phase 2. If there's a time that you get a chance to see the red house, that's where we put the new tile in. Toby commented on the floors walking in, it's just an incredible amount of work that these people do over the summer. So it's pretty exciting. And then I just shared the whole calendar up until the end of September. Just a one note is, and this will be going out, our open house is on September 13th. We've been publishing a lot on Facebook. We just try to keep our community updated with that.
Awesome.
There's also a Swanton Elementary alumni page that we are asking people to like and share some of their stories about our building. So that's a quick review of that.
So I'd just like to say I think I've been here 6 years or whatever. I lose track of years. But I think this is the lowest teacher turnover year.
Yeah.
Which is could have a lot to do with the negotiated pay, but also I think it's might as well. I think it's also kind of a reflection upon the administration, which I think is favorable. So I just like to point that out. I think turnover makes a big difference in the success of the school. The lower the turnover, the better in many instances, in most instances. So I think that's very good for us.
That's great.
Guys,
And I think it has a lot to do with the administration. As much as they can control it, I think they've
Yeah, I
done a
think
great
that
job
speaks
of that.
volumes.
That's great. Thank you. Is that it, Dina?
Yeah, that's
Thank
it.
you very much. Thank you.
So the first thing I want to do again is welcome Tamara Kelly as our new board secretary. We're glad you're here and appreciate you taking on this role. I think it's great to have someone who works in central office so that the communication is nice and clear and we can check each other's notes and things to make sure that that communication is good for the board. We do have a policy that needs to be adopted. It's the 504 section. It's the student policy on section 504. It has been read previously at board meetings. It was supposed to be on the June agenda and somehow it was not. So it's something that is a more comprehensive policy. It's got a lot of procedure in there. It is recommended by legal counsel and is very comprehensive. We had a training with Heather Lynn, our school student issue attorney, and she did training with the administrative team on implementing this policy 2 Mondays ago. So hopefully people have had a chance to look at it. It's been through all the other boards, including the SU board, and we'd be looking for a motion to adopt it.
Adopt it.
I will make a motion to adopt the 504 policy.
I will second.
I've told Meg, I seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, it passed unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I hope you all got the board report, the superintendent report. I'm going to try and do a newsletter every month. This one's a little thinner as it's summer. My hope is to have more information about professional development that's occurred, what's happening in central office, and have it be SU-wide, not specific necessarily to any particular school, as I think your principal's report really covers that well. I think the big piece that I want to highlight is that we do have a newly hired Secretary of Education, Dan French. Dan is a former superintendent of the Bennington-Rutland Supervisory Union. He's there since, I believe, 2008. Previous to that, he was a superintendent and before that a principal and then a teacher in the Keenan School District. He's currently been the leader of St. Michael's Administrative Leadership Program. He's a former superintendent of the year. He's very positive in supporting school districts, and I think that the response to this appointment is generally very positive. I think there had been some concerns that there might have been a non-educator appointed to that position.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was a Vermont educator and not someone from outside of Vermont or outside of education is seen as encouraging. I also want to highlight the time that we spent at Vermont Principals Association. It was very good, productive time together. It was wonderful to attend the Leadership Academy and support Joyce Hakey's Elementary Principal of the Year. Justina and Dina both attended. We had a great time in supporting her. We also had a lot of, I think, very productive and inspiring professional development around educational equity for students and providing really rich educational programs that are excellent as well as equitable for students. And then the next day we also spent a lot of time on the topic of collective efficacy, which is really about the power of an organization thinking positively together about what they can do. And it was, I thought, very meaningful and inspiring. And these things can be hit or miss, to be honest. But I felt that the team worked well together and came up with a lot of ideas. So I thought it was a very positive
Great
time.
pictures, too.
Well, I'm going to try and get pictures from folks about events happening in schools. I thought that the MBU Theater Camp was a great example of how students in all of our communities participated in a week-long camp experience together, where they culminated with a production of The Wizard of Oz, and we had kiddos from grade 2 up through seniors in high school working together and mentoring each other and learning a lot of important skills. So I thought that was also very positive. The only other thing I would mention is that we do have an Act 46 committee meeting on Monday at MBU Library at 7 o'clock. And we'll be discussing what happened in Newark and what next steps might be.
What was the date?
The 13th, next Monday.
But no new information will be available, just that's coming October, basically.
Yes, at this point, we don't really have much in the way of new information, not from the state. No. So that's it for me, unless people have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
How's it going?
Good question, Toby.
Total of what, 2 months? Not even?
Yeah.
2 months?
Well, I sort of started in
Yeah,
June,
that's true.
so
You did.
yes, I think it's fair.
Good.
I have to say, being able to spend really deep time with the administrative team was very valuable. I love being here, and I've been very busy, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
And you still live, it's more for the public, you reside in Swanton.
I do reside in Swanton
Which is
for
a
about
great
15,
thing.
16
Yeah.
years, yes.
Super.
I'm not going anywhere.
We can vouch for the fact that you hit the ground just running, so thank you.
Well,
Nice to
thank
have
you all.
So, old business. The first topic is the real estate purchase discussion, and I would like to request a motion to move to executive session to discuss it because premature public knowledge would clearly place the board or other party at a substantial disadvantage.
Can we do that at the end?
Well, we would do that at the end,
Oh,
yes.
okay, I messed that up then.
That's okay.
So we'll
It
do that
is-
at the
it's-
end.
We discussed, Dina and Terry and I met to look at the agenda, and we discussed putting topics in the main agenda, but then if we believe that it is something that should be discussed in executive session, we would maybe make a finding now, and then when we come to the end of the meeting, move to executive session to discuss it.
Great. Okay. So we're good?
Yes. It is an exception under the law because it's a real estate discussion.
Thank you. Okay, and Dina, thank you. You gave us the future board presentations, information input.
Sorry, I went out of order.
And you talked about the 25th anniversary of Swanton Central School. Is there anything you want to add to that?
The only thing with that, because we had said possible action, 25 years ago, there were several instrumental people involved with this school. Several of them were honored, and that was John Robb, who was currently, or at that time, our superintendent. There is a plaque outside the gym that honors him, and then there's a plaque outside this library for Mr. Yeti. And he, if I remember correctly, owned the land that this was built on. I'm trying to get all of these things straight. One gentleman that was behind the scenes to try to get this work done was John Edwards. And the mini committee that's working right now to put this 25th celebration together would really like to honor John Edwards with some type of plaque here at our school. And I'm bringing that to the board to ask for your permission to do that. The story goes that the formal process was done, but there were lots of meetings to try to get this going, and that behind the scenes and in a very humble way, Mr. Edwards really had a lot to do with us gaining this land in order to build this school. So it was a request from the committee members that we asked the board. It was never anything I would do without coming to the board, just asking for that plaque to be placed.
So the only thing sounding like just a plaque, I just know a while back there was an issue, and we adopted a policy soon after. So about we have a policy for, I don't know if it's for plaques, but it's definitely for naming like
okay.
the gym,
Right.
and there was talk of naming other parts of the facility or
Yeah.
grounds after someone,
Yeah.
and there's a policy. So I just want to make sure I don't know if that you're not saying
To dedicate a space. No, because I was aware of the other concerns and the issues, and I think, no, it's not like dedicating a space or naming a space.
So, okay, I just wanted to.
And we had looked, the playground committee had looked at that as well as part of, our fundraising, naming and stuff, and I'm pretty sure that it's not any sort of violation of that. 'Cause it's
Nothing
pretty
about a plaque or anything.
Yeah, too.
There's just out by the gym, there are several little plaques thanking the
Handies. That's
and,
in the old bad
and
collection.
I can't even think, the architecture firm. There's a little gold shovel, so it's a nice little display in remembrance of that time, and I thought that it could be added to that.
And I'm going to insert here. I made a mistake. I'm very sorry. I jumped to new business instead of finishing up the old business. And should we put this off until we finish with the old business, since we need a motion on this? Or wait till we get to new business? I'm not sure what the rules are in terms of how this plays.
I think you're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine since we started it?
And
Okay.
I don't know if you want a motion or you just want to say it sounds like a good plan, or a motion would be.
Which would you prefer? 'Cause
Yeah, well,
So if I'll make a motion, and we can debate it if you want. I'll make a motion to authorize the administration in working with the committee, the 25th anniversary committee, to do I want to say purchase? I don't know where the money's
To
coming
present
from.
a plaque.
To present a plaque to kind of. Do we want it to be a surprise? And this is not going to be a surprise.
Not now.
To recognize Mr. John Edwards for the contributions to our central school building.
Nicely said.
I will second.
Megan seconded. And any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're passed unanimously. Great, thank you. And
Oh,
now
thank
let's
you.
go back up to where we're supposed to be. Very sorry. The athletic director update.
Basically, very quickly, the board had approved, not in June, but I think April, had approved me talking with the Swanton Rec Department about them taking on our 5th and 6th grade programs. We thought that we were there, but then we weren't because there were a lot of things that people hadn't considered. And I think at the time that the board wasn't sure that they could take that on in the capacity that they were. So that was fine. The only hard thing was that just really didn't come to be till the end of July, which was a little bit late. So we started looking here within our own staff, and as I mentioned earlier, Josh was excited about it. He is our tech support person, but he also coaches a baseball team, does a lot of the organization and administrative piece with that. He has met with Corey Jeckett. He has met with me. He, has created an email already just for athletics, so he won't have to deal with that on his work. Those type of initiatives that he has taken. So, we'll guide him through that. So the program is still here, our 5th and 6th grade, and we feel really good moving forward. So that was just an update since it was a different direction than the board had known about.
Thank you. Thank you for being so responsive to that too. That's great. Thank you. And our next item, playground project update.
Playground. So, really where we're at right now, I think our last meeting was probably in June. Debbie Winters, as you know, she's come in here and spoke, is really kind of our trailblazer as out on the forefront working to fundraise for our new playground. And basically, at our last meeting, we had talked about kind of rearranging our tactic for that fundraising and really focusing on different communities, with like myself and Megan and Jason Butler focusing on the school community. And our job looking to get like 100% buy-in from our school boards and maybe central office and our staff and teachers here to get donations and solicit them. Debbie focusing more on the corporate and the businesses. We can go into more detail of it in September, but it was really well broken down the second time. Even Laura working with some of our vendors that we work with a lot and spend a lot of money with and have been good to us. So just really kind of more fine-tuning some direction for that, which I'm excited about. Our plan is really to get that kicked off in September. It's really coming up quick in the next couple weeks. Hoping to meet with and take some time at in-service to talk to staff here. We were, Megan and I had talked a little bit via email today, and we're hoping to have some time at the September board meeting to, our hope is to have a rendering available. I'd like to have that ready for in-service. We just have to make some final determinations on the colors of our playground. So we've got 3 or 4, maybe 5 that we're playing around with. Once we have that done, I don't think a rendering will be too hard to make a larger one. So I believe Debbie and Megan have volunteered, and I appreciate that, to possibly do a brief presentation at the first day and take whatever we talk about, 5-7 minutes to. That's a great community event with a lot of people that have some close emotional ties to the school. If you're here on that day, this is a special place for you, in my opinion. So we thought that would be a great time, and I was a little bit worried about it being the first day of school and what that would look like if I was there, and I know Dina will be working to manage that too. So if they're going to try to kick some off on that first day, I'll be doing in-service. There's another one coming in too. I can't think of it, but working on finalizing the renderings and having that here for you guys for the September meeting and really show you our more detailed plans.
And we'll also have, of course, Debbie again has spearheaded this, an informational booklet, pamphlet that we'll be using in the fundraising efforts. We've all weighed in on it, and Debbie has put it together, and it's just a really fantastic overview of the project and why it's important, and we'll have the renderings and that available as well. So that's being finalized now, so that should be ready shortly.
And I'll just lay a hint here that when she met with the hospital on how they went through their capital campaign, that's when she got a lot of the advice that we're operating from. One of the things that was mentioned was having that full support of your board and your staff. Once we get rolling, we might start with the boards and really kind of.
That's what United Way does
I think
too.
it's powerful when you can go back and say 100% of our board is behind this, and
It's important.
and we don't want people to give outside their means by any means. So, but summer was tough. Everyone's vacations never aligned to get any work done. That's how summer goes. So we're back on track now, and we'll
I
have
just give a
some.
little plug to Mary Wood too, because she's been such an asset to Swanton that I just wanted to say that I did connect Debbie and Mary, and Mary is now going to be a part of this. I think, which will only help
that's great.
the cause. So I just wanted to say she met about probably 3 hours at the Travel Cup with Debbie and I, and had some great recommendations and things to consider and things to think about, and connections. So I just wanted to give a
And
little
she's
shout
on
out
the
to Mary
25th
too.
anniversary committee. She
Yeah.
is, you know,
Yeah,
she's
she's
just
amazing.
Mary's great.
So we're exciting. It's going to be an exciting year, and I'm very confident that we'll come together as a community and raise the money that we need and have things in place for next summer.
It's awesome.
It's
Great.
good. You know?
Thank you. Exciting. Okay. So, new business, parent appeal of superintendent tuition decision.
So I'm going to be sort of name neutral here so that we can have this in open session discussion. I think it's important open session discussion when we're talking about tuition or waiving tuition because it's public money. We had a parent whose child attended here for 5 years. They moved. Student finished out last year. The parent requested that the student, how do I get my child to stay for their 6th grade year here in Swanton? And Winton responded with following your policy, which is around the tuitioning of non-resident pupils policy, and where parents, if they're not residents, either parent is a resident of the community, then families would need to tuition their child to the school if they wanted to attend. A letter was sent. I think initially the family was okay with that. There has been a new request because of changing circumstances, and the parent is now requesting that the Swanton Board, this is their first option, that the Swanton Board would waive tuition so that the child could attend for their 6th grade year.
And the total.
The tuition is $12,264, which is usually paid over a 10-month period. Now, there are a lot of issues at play here.
Right.
I want to make sure that I'm representing the parent well, and that you've all received the letter, had an opportunity to review the letter, and the student wrote a letter too, which is nice to see. And yet, I think the board needs to discuss whether it wants to waive tuition or not. These are always difficult decisions to make. We don't have school choice in elementary schools at this point in time, and there was a decision made by your former superintendent around that, and then 2, there are a lot of questions.
Am I right that it's not asking to forfeit the entire tuition, a portion thereof?
She asked for either the entire or part.
Okay, sorry, I was reading it.
Yeah. Seeking assistance with the tuition, if not, waive it altogether.
So, my question is for you, Julie. Is there any is this trying to think if there is a premature disclosure issue here, or if this is executive session in any manner, because I do think it potentially could put the board at a disadvantage depending on our decision. But I don't know if it's,
Well, if you're
it's a
dis-
student issue. I don't, would it fall under
Could be a student issue if you're going to consider negotiating the tuition, that would fall under
I think more
that kind of.
considering whether we want to negotiate. I do think there are some big ramifications for this
That are difficult to
that
discuss in open
right,
session.
that I don't know if I'm comfortable discussing in open session.
I don't think it's inappropriate, I just think it's important.
What would it fall
open
under
it.
a student? Yeah, I think that the public
Yeah.
knows, and we would come out and make a motion on it anyway.
Absolutely.
There might someone might have some information on the family as well, which might be sensitive as well, too.
Yeah, I would be more comfortable
Mhm.
discussing it in executive session.
Under a student issue, is that's where I'm looking for your.
Well, it could fall either under a legal issue, a student issue.
Right.
You know, I think it's safe to, if the board would make a finding that premature knowledge of the discussion would put either party at substantial
Yes,
disadvantage.
right,
And I
right.
think you can make that case. Yeah.
So that would be, Madam Chair, if I had my ruling of the roost, that we would discuss that in executive session.
A finding that's to discuss.
Okay.
And of course, come out and make a related motion.
Absolutely.
In public.
Thank you for working through that.
Okay.
Hannah.
Thank you.
That's just my feeling, though. I don't.
No,
I'm just
I agree. I appreciate the laying the groundwork in
Mhm.
open session, so everyone is aware of it, though.
Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. Future, I just want to make sure I don't skip anything again.
We did the future board.
We did the future board presentation, we did the 25th anniversary and the update, and now we've got future board meeting dates, which we kind of went through when we talked about what would be, what presentations would be given at them.
And then the SU meeting is
The SU
Oh, we
meeting
did.
is next week
next Wednesday.
on
Okay.
the 15th.
Are there others scheduled after that, or is that when we talk about our next schedule? Is it always the second Wednesday or something? I'm sorry.
I think it
Yes.
is, but I wasn't able to, when we were building
Yeah.
other agendas, I didn't have that information on a calendar. I was gonna rely on Correct to give that.
Yeah, second
Typically
Wednesday.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it kind of switches sometimes,
Do
it
we know
seems
where
like.
it is?
Okay.
The next one,
Yeah.
it's.
I thought it was MVU, isn't it?
Is it?
It is at
Yeah,
MVU.
MVU.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is September 19th at 6, great. And then anticipated executive session.
So we just want to add bullet to the legal and student issue regarding tuition. So if Madam Chair will entertain the motion, I will make it to enter executive session for the real estate purchase discussion and the student legal issue.
Great. And a second?
I'll second. Do we want to invite anybody in?
I'm okay with everybody here, with the exception of the board secretary. No offense. And Sharon.
Thank you.
I think we might need Laura potentially for financial considerations too. So that's my feeling.
Possibilities. Okay. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we're going to move to executive session.